I'm out here howling by the Tennessee River in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. But we got to do the howl. It's the full moon, even though we're kind of doing this special video. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, June 11th Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller and Kristin Lawhead here. Wow, Kristin, that's a little different.
Yeah. Happy Sagittarius full moon.
I am telling you, and happy welcome to Muscle Shoals. If you've never heard of this place, it's a wonderful little community in northern Alabama. It got famous by a documentary that was done in 2013. It's still on Amazon Prime about Muscle Shoals because in two different studios here, recording studios, a lot of the music, a lot of the hits that you listen to in the 60s, 70s, and 80s could have been recorded here. And I got to tour those two facilities today. Kristin, that had to have been a highlight of my life, I've got to say.
So cool. Standing in history.
I was standing beside the piano where the lick, now Bob Seger was not in the studio for this, but you know the song Old Time Rock and Roll? Mm-hmm. The track for that, the music was recorded here. And a guy, not the person who did it back in the day, but the tour guy played that da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I got to hear that with my ears. I was like, okay, now I can go to heaven. I'm ready. I'm done. There's nothing that'll top that. I heard that lick from the piano that it came from. That was cool.
Yeah, as Bob Seger says, it soothes the soul.
It soothes the soul for sure. Well, it's been fun, but we do have some astrology that we're going to be talking about. So this is where we are going to go through all 12 signs and put the Great Pyramid over them. This week, we're going to talk about Kristin's chart. For those of you listening to the audio, you might want to come over to the YouTube channel because we're going to be drawing this out for Kristin's chart. So the first thing that jumps out, or really a good starting place, and you all will know this for your own self, but Kristin's ascendant is just like mine. It's in the later degrees. The way this works is like her ascendant is Leo, but right after that ascendant point is Virgo. So keep that in mind as we look at these points. And what I would suggest you do is start up at the top. So start with Aries, even though it may not be at the top of your chart like it's not here. But for Kristin, and I'm going to draw this right down here because it's a little crowded up there above. That's not even it. You see, it's so close to that line, but right in there, just inside the 8th house, is 0 Aries. And then we come over, and the same thing. See, Taurus is on the cusp of her 10th house, but right inside it is Gemini. So there's the second point of the Great Pyramid that we're drawing in here. And 0 Aquarius is the third, and that's just inside the 6th. So for Kristin, the three primary houses, and I'm emphasizing primary because Kristin's going to elaborate on that in a second, but here's the Great Pyramid that we are drawing between these 3 points. Let's start with Pluto, because Pluto is all about transformation. And for her, that's in the 6th house, at least as far as this is starting out. Now, Kristin's going to elaborate here.
With Pluto in my 6th, it's transforming my day-to-day routine. And I already feel that starting with my kids beginning their school careers, you know?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I like that fact. And then the other thing is that psychological integration of self.
Yeah.
So you're going to be morphing as into a new Kristin as well, or at least assembling these things that you've learned so far and kind of hitting this. Remember, it's a 6-year pyramid. Right. So over this elongated period, you're going to be taking a lot of what you've learned in your first 35 years and rolling that into what's going to become your future. It's going to be exciting. But good transformations for you in that area for sure. I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Then the next area is the 8th house, and that's the big Saturn Neptune, where a lot of the rock and roll and rumble. See, I've got rock and roll on my mind now. A lot of the rumble from that, from this whole thing is peaked at that 0 Aries point. And remember, these two have not been together in early Aries since the days of Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon. So whatever happens here is new ground. It's going to be revolutionary, and it's a double whammy because Pluto rules the 8th house. There's transformation and rebirth, and there is transformation and rebirth. So, Kristin, are you ready for some changes?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Bring them on.
I didn't hear that REO Speedwagon recorded in Muscle Shoals. Roll with the changes. All right. And then the third area, and this is so significant because Kristin wants to teach astrology. And for her, astrology, ruled by Uranus, is sitting right there inside her 10th house. So as these changes are taking place, not only is astrology going to be her guide, but it's also going to be a part of her career, likely in the future. And I'm sure that does not disappoint.
No, not at all. With having Uranus recently conjunct my midheaven, it definitely has opened me up to having my name as an astrologer be more prominent for sure. I think that the strides that I've made in the past year or so as it's made that conjunction has been really great. When Uranus was making its way through my 9th house, I mean, it was a big part of my study for sure.
That's awesome. Now, here's something else that's particularly applicable to later rising signs, and that is, so look at Pluto. It's in Aquarius, but Aquarius is ruling the 7th. This is in Aries, and it's ruling the 9th. And this is moving into Gemini, which is ruling the 11th. Kristin, what are you doing with that?
I really like to blend the two house topics together, and that's a common practice that I do for late degrees that have kind of that overlap. So, like my definition of Pluto being in the 6th, ruled by the 7th, would be me working in one-on-one relationships, which is very common for what I do when consulting with astrology. And like with the 8th ruled by the 9th having to do with education and spirituality, and it being a lot to do with the teaching of other people and having them kind of realizing that their values, that's really a big part of what I like to do with astrology, is open up to people's their superpowers. What in their chart can they really do to help others with the benefits that they have from their planetary placements. And then that combination of the 11th and 10th. The 10th is, how I'm seen in this world, but the 11th is a community. And I think this whole podcast community is a big part of that too. I think that with the change of not only me being an astrologer, but taking on this podcasting role is a big part of some of that dynamic too, as well as that Uranus activating my natal Venus, which is activating that 10th house and the 3rd as well, and the 3rd house being the change of my communication, especially with that Pluto Venus trine that I'm currently working with.
Well, this is awesome. And you can see how you can navigate through this and just look at the key areas of the houses and the other planets, like she was just bringing Venus into it. And you can thread all of that together with synthesis and start to piece together how the Great Pyramid is going to affect you. Kristin, thanks for letting us share your chart. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And of course, if anybody wants any help with looking at this dynamic in their chart, you could always find me. I'm open for readings, or you can find other astrologers that can even start great conversations in the Discord.
There you go. Go to our Discord group. All right. We are going to do Taurus next Wednesday, and we'll work our way through. So thanks so much for listening and for watching from Muscle Shoals We'll see you back tomorrow. Kristin's up on Thursday's episode.